Everyone, welcome back to the channel, College Process. Once again, I'm Ed from Principia Prep. And like I said before in my other videos, every Friday going forward, I will be going into the comment section here and answering all the questions you guys leave here on the channel. So that being said, same format as before. If you have any questions on this video, any other videos on our channel here, once again, every Friday, I'll be going onto the comment section and answering all your questions. So any questions you have, guys, just leave them down below in the comment section, as well as, once again, I'll be skipping over any comments. I'll just be answering the specific questions you guys have. And the questions will be coming from the videos on the right-hand side. So these are the videos the questions coming from, and I'll be answering these questions down here. That being said, let's jump right into the first question here, coming in from Yia here. My question from last week about honors are for the freshmen in college. Are honors classes worth it? Well, it depends. Now, when it comes to honors college, as far as going into the honors college at the university your student's going into, if you're considering going into it or not, going into the honors college does have some benefits. In many cases, what happens right off the bat is if you are accepted to or go into the honors program at the college your student's going to, right off the bat, they typically increase your scholarship a little bit. So you do have the financial consideration of that being there. Now, the other component is if your student's looking to go to grad school for MBA, pre-med, pre-dental, any of the medical stuff, really anything next level after your student finishes the undergrad program, then I would highly consider the honors program because of the fact that it gives a little bit more oomph to your student's resume. Because obviously in college, other than just the college, as well as the honors program, there really aren't any things out there to make your students stand out from an academic point of view. There's no AP classes, no IB classes, no dual credit courses, so on and so forth. So that's one way to kind of help yourself stand out if your student's considering a grad school path of some kind, or if you're considering it from a financial aid point of view, additional scholarship consideration. Now, if neither one of those things are in the mix, there's no additional scholarships, or your student's not considering grad school of any kind, really, then I don't know if it has any value, to be honest with you, for your student to go into the honors program, because you're not going to be utilizing it for anything else later on. That being said, let's go to the next question here. Can outside scholarships be used to pay off loans, federal or private? Not really. The way that the loans work, or at least the way that the scholarships work, if you're looking at private scholarships, let's say something from the high school, what they typically do is they give the check directly to the student most of the times in high school. So theoretically, you can use it to pay off anything you want, really. It's supposed to be used for college expenses, but it's kind of on the honor system. But if you're talking about larger scholarship stuff you find online, like scholarships.com or Merit Aid or Scholly or FinAid or College Board or CapEx, any of these online scholarship searches, most of the time those checks are going to be bigger than a few $100 or $1,000 or so. So they typically send the check directly to the school, the college itself. So those checks, I would say, very unlikely going to be able to use those to pay off other debts as far as anything other than the college. But local scholarships, kind of you can. It's up to you because it's on the honor system most of the time. The local stuff, the PTA, the Elks Club, the local realtor, so on and so forth. These people get the check directly to the student. So it kind of depends what you do with the check, okay? That being said, let's go to the next questions here. All right, next question here comes from Catherine Tran. Can you please talk about the best ways to pay for medical school, pros and cons of borrowing from your 401k to pay your son's medical school expenses? Now, when it comes to loans and figuring out what's the best way to pay, typically I like the private side. The private lenders typically have the lowest available rates. Now, depending on obviously here when your student's going into medical school, that could be another factor to consider. Right now, one of the questions you want to be asking yourself is, what are the interest rates right now? Because from an interest rate point perspective, on the grad side, it's really the private lenders, then the state loans, then the federal loans, the grad plus loans, kind of in that ranking order as far as who's got the best rates right now. But if your son or daughter is going into medical school, or really any graduate program, to be honest with you, let's say in September, so starting in the fall, these rates change monthly. So what could happen is, and most of the time, by the way, if you're looking to do a loan for the fall and spring semester, whether it be undergrad or grad, you typically want to do the loan for the whole year, by the way. That being said, usually around the beginning of July is when all the lenders kind of come out with their rates for the academic year, because the federal and state rates get locked in July and they don't change. It's just the private lenders that rates change every day, basically. So you need to shop around, unfortunately. But from my perspective, I would be looking at the private lenders, then the state lenders, then the federal lenders as my options going down the list to see who's got the best rates right now. But at this point in time, it is the private lenders just by a little bit because rates have come down. The state loans were the best before, but right now they're just a little bit more expensive than the private lenders. Now, hopefully that helps answer your question. And the next question here comes from E from 5 days ago, where they're asking that the cost of attendance letter has a personal expense section of about a few $1,000s, and the transportation expense is, will the personal expense be paid to the college? I don't see how to do that. Okay. So the question is, or the way it works is this. when you guys are given the cost of attendance of the school, they break it into different categories. The cost of attendance, by the way, means the total cost of the school for one academic year. And on there, you're going to have the tuition, room board, fees, insurance, transportation costs, laptop costs. That's the personal expenses, buying a pillow, a comforter, so on and so forth. Certain costs are not actually paid to the college. So they're just giving you an idea what the estimate would be when they're saying to you your personal costs, your transportation costs, your laptop costs, these kind of things. These are not actual numbers you'll be paying to someone. It's just the way the college does it to kind of give you a perception and idea of what the total cost will be. Because obviously for some of you guys, the personal expenses for the comforter, the pens, the pencils, the calculators will be lower than others. So this is an average cost they're giving you of what they think based on all the students they've dealt with, what the average cost is for them to move on campus or over transportation costs, these kind of things. The direct cost, what you're paying directly to the college, is the tuition and the room and board and their direct fees. Those things are locked in. So those are being paid directly to the college. The indirect costs are the transportation, the miscellaneous stuff, the personal expenses, that kind of stuff. Those are the variable things where they could go up a little bit or down a little bit depending on your situation, but you're not technically paying the indirect to the college. You're only paying the direct cost to the college. Okay, hopefully that helped answer your question. Question here, I want to know if you can give some advice, financial advice for parents with 2 kids at the same college. Thank you. Well, John, this is for John here. When you do have multiple students in the same college, one of the first things I'm asking the admissions office before I make any deposits is, are there any sibling grants or scholarships? Meaning, if I'm sending 2 of them or more than 2 of them, multiple students to that same college at the same time, are there specific sibling grants, sibling discounts based on the fact that we have multiple students at your college? I'm dealing with admissions with that automatically right before the whole thing starts to see, are we going to get a discount? Now, the sibling grants used to be more prevalent, to be honest with you. Not as prevalent as they are, in the past, but they typically range anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000 as far as additional grants or scholarship money provided to you per student based on the fact you have multiple students at that college. So I would be asking admissions, are there sibling discounts here? All right, next question here comes in here. Worried I got accepted to 5 universities, received financial aid for 2 of them, and accepted the aid because I accepted. Will the financial aid offers from the other 3 universities, I guess, arrive? Now, the way it works is whether you guys accept financial aid award letters right now, like let's just say right now it's obviously February, you guys accept all the financial aid and send back the award letter saying yes to all the aid. The other schools will still keep sending you out the financial aid award letters. The schools are not connected, by the way. They're somewhat connected as far as they can see your FAFSA information. If you put your schools on the FAFSA, those schools can see all your information. But as far as other schools corresponding with each other, they don't do that. So if you were to deposit at one school or accept the aid for one school or accept the aid for all the schools, let's say out of 2 or 3 schools you got into so far, the other schools, once you get accepted, will still send you financial aid award letters based on the fact that you put them on a FAFSA. So accepting aid does not automatically stop you from getting aid consideration or award letters from other colleges. Okay, this question here from Barbie from a day ago. I have questions and need input. This is regarding the 2021 FAFSA tax section and what to put. Scenario, returning student, more here. I got married in October of 21. In our ignorance, we didn't file taxes together because we weren't married the whole year. Going back to school in 2023, it is asking me currently, are you married? And it's asking my partner's tax information. We didn't file together. Will this affect us? Yes, it will affect you. Now, it won't affect you negatively. We'll put it that way. What happens is, since you guys have to indicate on the forms that you are married, because the day you fill out the forms, you have to indicate your marital status. Doesn't matter if you were married in 20, 21, 22, or married, let's say, a week ago. You guys are married the day you fill out the form. You got to put on there you're married because you're actually married the day you fill out the form. That being said, what will happen is you have to input all the information in manually. Because of the fact you guys did separate tax returns, whether it be single or head of household or 2-headed households, whatever it was, that form doesn't allow you to upload your taxes through the IRS tax retrieval tool because you guys aren't connected already. So you guys will actually have to manually put in all your income numbers. Your adjusted gross income would go first, then the wages between the 2 of you guys, your W-2 incomes, 1099 incomes, those would go next. And then taxes paid, you get that from line 22 from both your tax returns and add that information in. So it's not that you're in trouble as far as you did anything wrong. It's just it's going to be more paperwork, I guess you can call it, when filling out the FAFSA form for you guys. Okay, next question comes in from Andy here from just over 20 hours ago. Great video. Here's a scenario. I'm wondering if my parents' house is paid off, but by another house, another state. where I would have a 15 to 30-year mortgage. Would this affect my financial aid? Yes, it would. Once you guys have multiple properties, once you get outside the realm of just the primary property and then start adding more properties, then you guys, your information does count as far as the second home's equity does count. The mortgage situation is irrelevant to the school as far as its 15-year, 13-year, et cetera, 30-year, et cetera. Only thing the school cares about is how much equity do you have in that property, because that equity is counted as investment property equity and goes in the investment section of the FAFSA. So having multiple properties, whether your primary is paid off or not, is irrelevant. It's the fact that the primary doesn't count in the FAFSA, but second properties do. So having the first property paid off, not affecting the FAFSA. Having a second property and the equity in that property will be utilized against you for financial aid consideration because it does count as an investment. All right, we have the last 3 questions here, guys. And here from Rick, I'm not sure what you mean by getting your emails or voice messages. If you want, Rick, if you can text me, because I do have my phone number at the end of every one of my videos, my cell phone number. You can just text me if you have specific questions. And then Nia here, do you provide scholarship essay writing help? I'm not sure what you mean by that. If you're talking about the local scholarship assistance as far as helping with the essays and stuff, I do help parents and students out with the admissions and financial aid process on all FAFSA at Kitchen College. So I do help out with essays, whether it be admissions or scholarships and that kind of stuff. So yes, if you need help with that or want some guidance with that, you can reach out to me. Once again, my phone number here is on the channel and it's on the videos. At the end here, you can just shoot me a text message. I can help you guys out as well. And then last question here from Nia. If student changes living arrangement from year to year, does the parent change from year to year on the FAFSA? Yes. Well, your question basically is if the student's parents make different incomes every year, and then one year that one person makes less than the other, can we switch the parents on the FAFSA? And the answer is yes, you can. Other than that, looks to be all the questions have been answered here for you guys. Once again, if you like this format, please leave us a thumbs up. It does help the channel, all the likes and so on and so forth. As well as if you have any comments, whether it's beyond this video or any other video, please leave them down below. I do answer all your questions once again every Friday in video format and then put it back here on YouTube to make sure everyone has detailed answers to their questions. And other than that, on the screen is my contact information. Once again, if you need help or assistance, I do help out families with the financial aid and admissions process. Just feel free to reach out to me. That's my cell phone number. You can either text or call me, or even just send me an email, up to you guys. And I do sit down and meet with families through Zoom if you do need assistance. Other than that, thank you for watching today's video. My name is Ed from Principia Prep.